Okay, 0.2. Today we're going to review solving systems of equations. Okay, there were three main methods we learned. The first one was to solve by graphing. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this line. It's y equals 1/2 x minus 3, so the y-intercept is -3. The slope is 1/2. I do want my line to be straight because I'm going to find the point of intersection. Okay, that was the first line. Let me try the next line. Y equals -x plus 3. So the y-intercept is +3. My slope, -1/1. Okay, if you have a ruler, that's great. I do not. Okay, now the solution is the point that the two equations have in common. So in this case, it's the point where the two lines have in common. So that point is right here. So the point there is x is 4 and y is -1. So the solution is 4, -1. Okay, let's graph part B. So for part B, y equals 2x minus 3. This y-intercept is -3. Slope is 2/1. And again, you want your line straight because we're trying to find a point of intersection. Okay, my second line is y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So y-intercept is 1, and I'm going to go up 2/3. Oh, there it is. I can see the point. There we go. Draw your lines. You do need to draw both lines because that's your work, so to speak. Okay, the point they intersect at is right here. So at that point, x is 3, y is 3. So my solution is 3, 3. Okay, now algebraically, we learned two methods for solving. The first one is substitution. Okay, substitution is useful when one of the equations is of the form x equals or y equals, so I can substitute it into the second equation. So I'm going to look for one that says x equals or y equals. This says y equals this. Okay, so since y equals this, when I go to the second equation where y is, I can substitute this in its place so that it is easier to solve. So let's see what this looks like. 4x plus 3. Where the y is, I substitute in x minus 5. I bring down the equals and the -8. Okay, this is a better equation because now everything is in terms of x, and I should be able to solve it. So 4x, let's distribute. 4x plus 3x is 7x. Okay, I'm going to add the 15 to the other side. And I get 7x equals 7. And then I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides. Okay, so I get x equals 1. Okay, now our answer should be what x is and also what y is, so I can write it as an ordered pair. So once I know what x is, I can take my 1 and plug it back into either one of these equations, whichever one's easier. I'm going to use the first equation because that looks easier. So y equals x minus 5. X is 1 minus 5. Okay, and then I'm going to write my answer as an ordered pair. So x is 1, y is -4. And your x always goes first, your y goes second, and that's because it goes in order. Okay, let's try B. Let's start B together, and then I'll have you pause the video and finish. Okay, substitution, you want an equation that either says x equals or y equals. Let's see, this is x equals. So I'm going to take x equals this, and the second equation where x is, I can plug in 3y plus 4. Bring down the plus 5y equals 30. Now let's distribute. Okay, like term, 6y plus 5y is 11y. Okay, I'm going to minus the 8. And I'm going to divide by 11. Okay, now I found that y equals 2. I still need the x value because I need to solve for all possible variables. So I can go back and plug in either of the first equations. I'm going to plug it in the first one. X equals 3y plus 4. For the y value, I just found out that it was 2. So x equals 3 times 2. 6 plus 4, so x is 10. And then I'm going to write my answer as an ordered pair. So x is 10, y is 2. Okay, let's see. Okay, go ahead and try the next two on your own. Pause the video, and when you're ready to check your answers, unpause. Okay, for C, I found -1, 2 for my solution, and for D, I got -1, -1. The answers are at the bottom, that they are out of order if you are working ahead. You know, the third method for solving systems that you learned in Algebra 1 was the elimination method or the addition method or something similar. Okay, this one works when the variables are kind of lined up and we're hoping to eliminate one of them by canceling. Okay, so if we look at these equations, neither one is solved for x equals or y equals, so substitution would be necessarily the fastest. But I do notice the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, the equals and the numbers are lined up. So I want to see if I were to add down, if anything would cancel. So if I add down here, 3x and x don't cancel. If I add down here, 5y minus 5y will cancel. So I'm going to go ahead and add down. If I do 3x plus x, because this is a positive x, I get 4x. If I do 5y minus 5y, I get 0, so I'm going to leave it off. And if I add the 1 and the 7, I get 8. Okay, so now I have 4x equals 8. If I divide by 4, I get x equals 2. So I've already solved for one of them. Now to get the y value, I need to take my x equals 2. I need to either plug it in here or here. It does not matter which equation you use. You should get the same answer both ways. So if one way doesn't work, try it the other way. But the answer should match either way. I'm just going to use the first one, mainly because it does not have negatives. Okay, so 3x plus 5y equals 1. Where the x is, I'm plugging in 2 because I just got that answer. So I have 3 times 2, 6 plus 5y equals 1. I'm going to subtract the 6. 5y equals -5. Divide by 5. Y equals -1. So my answer is 2, -1. And make sure you always solve for the x and the y. Okay, let's look at B. Okay, so for B, they are lined up, x's, y's equals numbers. Now, does anything cancel? The x's would cancel. Okay, I'm going to do the first step with you, and then I'm going to have you pause and then try to solve it. Okay, if I do -x and x, they cancel. If I do 2y plus 2y, I get 4y. 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay, go ahead, pause the video, solve the problem, and then unpause when you're ready to check. Okay, for B, my final answer was -5, 2. I chose to plug it in the first equation. So I had -x plus 2 times 2, -x plus 4 equals 9. I minus the 4 and got 5. And then I had -x equals 5. Remember, this is like a -1x equals 5. So I divided by -1 and I got x equals -5. If you plugged in the other equation, you should get the same answer. Okay, now let's look at C and D, because now it's when things started to go sideways a little bit. Okay, these are lined up. X's, y's equal number. The x's don't cancel, and the y's do not cancel. So when they do not cancel, that's when we had to multiply one or both equations by a number or numbers to make them cancel. Okay, now you can cancel the x's or the y's. It doesn't matter which one. Okay, I'm going to cancel the x's for no particular reason. Okay, now this is a -2x. It does not cancel with x. You have to think, what number would I like to be here so it would cancel with the -2x? This is -2x. I want this to be positive 2x. To make it a positive 2x, I'm going to multiply it by 2. If you multiply it by 2, you have to multiply the entire equation by 2. Fair? Okay, so let's keep the first equation the same. For the second equation, I'm going to distribute the 2 to all three terms. 2x, 10y, 2 times 7, 14. Okay, now if I've done this correctly, something should cancel now. Okay, -2x and positive 2x cancel. 3 plus 10y is 13y. 12 plus 14, 26. Divide by 13, I get y equals 2. Okay, I still need to get x. I can plug the y equals 2 back into this equation, or this equation, or this equation, or this equation. No matter what, I should get the same answer. So if there's one equation that looks easier than the others, I would plug it in that one. I'm going to plug it into x plus 5y equals 7 because it just looks a little bit easier than the other ones. X plus 5y equals 7, where y is, I put in 2. So x plus 10 is 7. If I subtract 10, I get x equals -3. So my answer is -3, comma 2. And if you plugged in a different equation, you should get the same answer. Okay, let's do D, and then I'll have you try A and F on your own. Okay, now D, let's see if it's lined up first. X, Y equals number. It's lined up, which is great. Let's see if anything cancels. No. No, they don't cancel. Okay, now what if, let me think, if this was a 2x and this is a 5y, can I times 2 by something to get 5? No. Can I times 2 by something to get 3? No. Okay, this one's going to be trickier. I need to turn them into the same number but opposite signs, so I'm going to have to multiply both equations to make this work. So let's see, should we do x's or y's? Let's just do x's for no particular reason. Okay, this is 2x and 5x. I cannot multiply easily by something to make it a 5, to make it cancel. So I need to turn them both into the same number. Okay, the least common multiple of 2 and 5 is 10. Because I can turn both of these into a 10 by multiplying. So let's see, if I want this to turn into 10x, I'm going to times it by 5. Now if I want the bottom one to turn into 10x, 5 times, I would times it by 2. Now do I want them both to be 10x? 5 times 2 is 10x, 2 times 5 is 10x. Will they cancel? No, I need one of them to be a negative 10x. So whichever one you want, make it negative. Does not matter which one. Okay, let's distribute this and see if something cancels. So for the top equation, 5 times 2, 10x, 5 times 3, 15y, 5 times 7, 35. Now at the bottom, negative 2 times 5, negative 10x, negative 4y, negative 2. Okay, now I'm going to try to cancel. If I did it correctly, something will cancel. If I've made a mistake, it won't, and I'll go back and find it. 10x minus 10x is 0, gone. 15 minus 4y is 11y. 35 minus 2 is 33. Okay, if I divide by 11, y is 3. Thank goodness. Okay, now I can plug the y equals 3 back into this equation, this equation, this equation, or this equation. Whichever one looks the best to you is the one you pick. I'm just going to plug it in the 2x plus 3y equals 7 because it doesn't look bad. 2x plus 3y equals 7. Where y is, I'm plugging in 3. 3 times 3 is 9. If I subtract 9, 2x equals negative 2. If I divide by 2, I get x equals negative 1. So my answer is negative 1, comma 3. Okay, why don't you go ahead and try the last two? Okay, when you're ready, unpause the video and you can look at the work. Remember, your work can be different than mine because with elimination, your choices for what you choose to eliminate could be different and we will get the same resulting answers. Okay, for E, I have the answer of 3, 4, and then for F, I have 3, -1. And if you eliminated something else, it's fine. Once you see it eliminate, you're on the right track.